Hello, hello, welcome everyone. Thank you for coming on to the Cheeky Scientist webinar, How to Access the Hidden PhD Job Market by Following a Proven Job Search Blueprint. I'm just waiting for everyone to arrive. We're getting started in the next 6 minutes at the top of the hour. So we are just going to test out a couple of things, test the audio test and make sure you can see my slides. So I can see a few of you are on already, so if you wouldn't mind putting into the chat box a yes if you can hear me, and that way I will know that the sound is coming through. I know there's a little delay, so I'll just wait around until that chat comes through. And Nick, hi, welcome. Thank you for coming and thanks for responding. Hi, Christina. Hi, Daniela. Sab here. Welcome. Thanks for coming. All right, and if you can also see the slides with the red banner at the top, please put in a yes in the chat box in all caps, and then that way we'll know that everything is working. So thank you all for those who've come on early. We're going to get started shortly and just waiting on those big yeses to come through, and there they are. Hi Anna, thank you. Thank you Anja and Angela. How welcome. And all right, so today we're talking about how to access the hidden PhD job market by following a proven job search blueprint. And this is going to be held by Isaiah Hankel, the founder of Cheeky Scientist. We're going to teach you how to generate referrals to 80% more jobs by accessing the hidden job market, and how to craft a 2018 optimized resume to fit it into your job search workflow correctly. And we're also going to teach you how to secure interviews before other candidates by leveraging the new LinkedIn platform. So welcome. Thank you to everyone who's saying yes there in the chat box. Feel free to put into the chat box the city that you are in currently and your name, and we can say hi, because I know there'll be people from all over the world here today. So welcome to everyone. Thank you for coming on early. Hi Mibin. Hi Trupan. Accra, welcome, welcome. Leah, welcome. And it's to say a big thank you for for showing up, as we do know that your time is valuable. We're giving away this starting bonus, this webinar starting bonus. It is an industry resume quick start guide with lots of tips in there for how to start working on your resume. So thank you for putting in your cities. Hi, Christina's in Princeton. Anik is in Milwaukee. Must be late there. Anja's in Rockville. Welcome. Sudha. Mitch, hi, welcome. Anna's in Lansing. And welcome to Anik. Yeah, we've got that. Christina's in Princeton. All right, and we've got Devi Priva in Pennsylvania. Welcome, welcome. So I'm just going to keep going, as we're going to get started soon at the top of the hour, and we're just going through a few things before the speaker comes on. Today we are giving away also this webinar bonus. It's $100 value, and it is a best-selling behavioral interview guide. So to go in the draw to get this, you will have to go over to facebook.com/mycheekyscientist. There is a pinned post at the top of that page, and you'll see the photo of Ira Ashok there. And if you type the word guide in the comments below, you will go in the draw to get that bonus. So thank you so much for coming today, and head on over there quickly to the facebook.com/mycheekyscientist just before we get started to get in the draw to win that guide. So that's a behavioral interview guide to teach you how to perform well in a behavioral interview, or how to perform well when you're asked behavioral interview questions. So head on over there, facebook.com/mycheekyscientist, the pinned post at the top with Ira, and type guide into the comments, and we'll be drawing that at the end of the webinar. In addition, there is a webinar ending bonus. This is a $300 value, the Big Interview Mastery Track training program. This is to help you practice your interview skills in a real sort of live setting. So keep an eye out for that at the end of the webinar as well. Thank you. We've got Koa from Melbourne, great city. Sandra's in Quebec in Canada. Welcome, welcome. Tufan's in South Bend. Sabhia's in Guide. Oh, no, Guide. Okay. Nope. You've got to head on over to facebook.com/ My Cheeky Scientist. Type guide in that on the Facebook page, not in the chat box here. You won't going to draw, unfortunately, if you type guide in this chat box here on this dashboard. You have to go over to facebook.com/mycheekyscientist. So thanks to everyone who's come on early. We are about to get started. So we're talking today about how to access the hidden PhD job market by following a proven job search blueprint. We're going to teach you how to generate referrals for 80% more jobs by accessing the hidden job market, and how to craft a 2018 optimized resume and how to fit it into your job search workflow correctly. And also we're going to teach you how to secure interviews by other candidates by leveraging the new LinkedIn. So thanks to everyone who's just come on. We're getting started as it's the top of the hour. And feel free to put your name and your city in the chat box there. And just for showing up today, we are giving away this webinar starting bonus. It's an industry resume quick start guide, and it is in the chat box at the top. There's a link there. Please save the link so that you can access that at any time when you're doing your resume. That's a thank you from us to you just for showing up, as we know your time is valuable. So thank you for coming. And in addition, we've got the webinar Facebook bonus. If you head on over to facebook.com/mycheekyscientist and type guide in the comments over on facebook.com/mycheekyscientist, you'll go in the draw to win this behavioral interview guide. So head on over there quickly. In addition, we're giving away a bonus at the end, which is worth $300 value, and it's a big interview mastery track training program for you to practice interviews in a real life setting. All right, so let's get started. Just before our founder, Isaiah Hankel, comes on, I'm going to go through a few things. So, does this sound like you? If you have no idea where to start in your job search, or no idea which industry position is right for you, or you've been uploading your resume without getting a response, or you have no time to go to networking events, or you hate networking like most people, or if you have no interview or site visit invites or no job offers, then you have come to the right place, because we're going to be covering a lot of that today. I'm going to briefly introduce our speaker, Isaiah Hankel, who's the founder of Cheeky Scientist and creator of the Cheeky Scientist Association. And then Isaiah's going to take it away and go through that webinar with you. This is our founder, Isaiah Hankel, who is a PhD in anatomy and cell biology, an internationally recognized Fortune 500 consultant. He is an expert in the biotech industry and specializes in helping people transition into cutting-edge career tracks. Isaiah has worked with numerous leaders in the biotech industry, including Lilly Pharmaceuticals, Lenico Technologies, Orflow Technologies, Biorad Labs, Cellaret Therapeutics, Miltenyi Biotech, McCord Research, Expert Cytometry, TreeStar, Amgen, Celgene, BG Biosciences, Baxter Bioscience, Pfizer, Roche, and Genentech, to name a few. He's also the author of Black Hole Focus. This is a book that was written with advanced degree holders in mind and features a number of case studies on the careers of advanced degree holders. In addition, we've got the sneak preview, so the people on this webinar will find out that on the 3rd of January 2018, Isaiah is releasing his second book. It's called The Science of Intelligent Achievement, so keep an eye out for its release. Since graduating, Isaiah has been advancing his career in cell biology and founded Cheeky Scientist. He has given over 400 seminars in 30 different countries throughout Europe, New Zealand, Australia, and North America. He has also presented at Harvard University, Stanford, Oxford University, Cambridge University, Cancer Research UK, University of Amsterdam, German Cancer Research Centre, the Pasteur Institute, Curie Institute, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, the University of Tasmania, the University of Sydney, University of Western Australia, and many other institutions. And here you can see him presenting to PhDs just like you all around the world. He is also the founder of the Cheeky Scientists Association. If you haven't been to our website, this is what it looks like. And the association has been developed specifically to help PhDs transition from an academic setting to industry and to help them build their business acumen. And here is a bit about Cheeky Scientists' goals. Currently, there's only about 2% of PhDs in CEO positions, and Cheeky Scientists would like to see that go up to 51%. Other Cheeky Scientist goals include placing 1 million PhDs into industry positions, and also to support all PhD programs in providing industry training to their PhD students, postdocs, and researchers, and to enact change that requires all government-funded principal investigators and academic advisors to receive management and financial training. So we often get asked the question if Cheeky Scientist is a US company with just US members, and it is not. It is a company that is provides assistance for PhDs around the world. And as you can see on this map, it's as far-reaching as New Zealand and Chile, Russia, all over Europe and North America, Central and South America, all across India and the South Pacific, Asia, South Pacific region. Here are our members meeting up all over the world. They often meet up weekly to practice their networking and get to meet other industry professionals who have already been members and who are already in jobs. So that's some photos of them meeting up and having fun. If you haven't been to our website, you might not have seen these examples of some of our members who have transitioned to industry. So you can see examples of some of the barriers that they've come up against during their own transitions and how they overcame those to get the positions they currently have. For instance, we've got Gabrielle in the top left, who is a scientist at L'Oreal, Maxwell next to her, who is a data analyst at Essentia, and Abhay, who is a senior scientist at Lake Pharma Inc., and Ira Ashok, she's a project leader in transitional oncology at Champions Oncology. Morgan Bai, he's based in Canada. So I know we've had lots of questions about whether we also help people in the Canadian region. And Arsalan, he's down in the Triangle in the US at Coleman Research. And Isaiah didn't always start out in business. He did start out as a sheep farmer in rural Idaho. And when he was doing his PhD, like many others, he started with the motivation to contribute to the field of science and quickly felt he was stuck in the lab all the time. He had a PI who would not let him graduate, which led to a stress-induced health condition. Isaiah sought out resources for working outside of academia and found there were none, and as a result, he started Cheeky Scientist to help his peers. In addition, Isaiah has also founded the FBHI, which is a non-profit organization that is about providing healing from disease mechanism to patient recovery. And so we're going to get started now. Isaiah's going to come on the line, so turn your cell phones off and you can ask questions throughout. Just put the questions into the chat box, and on the left of the chat on the message, you will see a speech bubble. Press on that, it'll turn it to a question, and it'll list it on Isaiah's end so that he would like to answer all of your questions before he leaves. So please welcome Isaiah.
Hello, everyone. Hopefully you can see and hear me. Do me a favor, if you can see and hear me, please thank Laura for the introduction. In the chat box, and as those thank yous come in, I will get started. I'm going to change over the camera here and put my slides up in a second. That's Laura. She's a real person, as am I. We like to come on live just to show you, hey, we're real. This isn't pre-recorded. We're not robots. This isn't CGI. I am very real right now. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it. There's going to be a slight pause as I turn on my slides. Okay, looks like a lot of you can hear me because you're saying thank you, so that's great. If you can see my slides, type in yes in the chat box real quick, please. We have well over 100 of you on right now, so type in yes, if you would, and we will get started. We have lots to cover today. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is an impossible task. I'm trying to give you a complete overview, hence the word blueprint, a complete overview of what it takes to get a job, a PhD level job in industry, okay? And it's not easy, hence why you're probably here and you probably struggle to get a job. Maybe you've been uploading resumes and you haven't heard anything back. Maybe you have tried to reach out to somebody on LinkedIn or by email and they haven't responded. Maybe recruiters haven't reached out to you at all, which is a bad sign if you have a PhD. So we're going to talk about how to remedy this, and we're going to talk about how to get a job from A to Z. I'm going to cover as much material as I can, but I realize it's only an hour, so we're going to move at a fast pace. Every single slide could be its own presentation, and in our association, it is its own presentation. We go in depth with all this material in the association, but here I'm going to try to cover as much as we can. We're going to talk about how to access the hidden job market, where 80% of the jobs are because they're not listed online. We're going to talk about resumes, LinkedIn profiles. We're going to talk about how to leverage LinkedIn. We're going to talk about networking, and we're going to follow the usual cheeky scientist model. We talk about scope, sequence, strategy, and it's very similar to a peer-reviewed paper. You don't start the paper with the data, with the strategies. Anybody can learn a how-to strategy. You can just Google online how to write a resume. Okay, but you have to, if you want to get a PhD level job, you have to understand where this fits into the overall job search, where it fits in the sequence, and where it fits in the scope. So just like a peer-reviewed paper would start with an introduction or a background, we are starting with the scope. Then we're going to start with the sequence, which is kind of like the methodology. Okay, what's the right sequence in order to execute a job search effectively? And then we're going to get to specific strategies. And in those strategies, we're going to cover how to create a job search strategy spreadsheet. We call it the JS3 spreadsheet in Cheeky Scientist. Very, very important for staying on track and following up appropriately. We're going to talk about the 10 new rules of writing a PhD level industry resume. We're going to get through as many of these as we can. We're going to talk about the 9 keys of crafting a professional profile on LinkedIn. We dove deeply into some of these topics in our past webinars. We're going to cover them here in sequence. We're also going to talk about online networking and how to bring everything together. But first, we're going to cover the scope. It's very important for you to understand in terms of motivation and urgency, but also so that you know where the jobs are. Because the biggest thing that holds PhDs back, it's not your technical skills. It's not the fact that you haven't worked in industry. It's not a unique PhD background. Really what holds you back is you. You think that there's still hope for you in academia, but there's not. There's no hope at all. There are no jobs for you in academia, and I'm going to show that to you. And it's very important for you to understand this because, in a sense, you have to burn the ships, right? It's a phrase that means that there's no going back. There is no jobs for you in academia. This is your only chance to get a high-paying job where you can do meaningful work and actually use your PhD to do something meaningful in the world. So it's very important for us to go through this. You've seen a lot of memes like this that say, I have a PhD, multiple postdocs, but I'm unemployed. And this is a reality now. This used to be a joke 10 years ago. It's a reality now. There are 3 times more PhDs on government assistance now than there were just a couple years ago. And this is because PhDs, they're not trained on how to get jobs outside of academia. There are no classes at most universities on, not real classes, not real training on how to get a job. Maybe they'll bring in a seminar speaker once a year that doesn't have a job in academia, but even that's still rare. And as a result, PhDs get stuck behind all of these job search barriers. They don't have a strategy. They don't know the outcomes. They don't know the job titles that are available to them. They don't have a network. They're not able to get referrals in industry. No credibility, bad resume, bad LinkedIn profile. Not able to communicate transferable skills. Don't know how to differentiate themselves from the competition. This is where I was at the end of my PhD career. All I knew was that there was jobs in academia and then there was jobs in industry. But industry was a black box to me. I was working at a lab bench, so the most that I knew about industry is that there was bench jobs in industry and then non-bench jobs. Little did I know there was literally hundreds of different job titles that I could have applied for. And once I found out what those job titles were, the job search process became much easier. And once I found out which jobs were the right fit for me, which matched the professional lifestyle that I wanted, only then did I start making progress. And I was able to start setting goals. I also thought that my PI or my thesis committee or my advisor, that they would have connections in industry or that they would be able to help me get a job in some way. I was completely wrong. They had no connections. One of my thesis committee members knew one person in industry who was doing an industrial postdoc. That was it. And this is something a lot of PhDs face. And so what did I do? I just started uploading resumes online. And when nobody answered or I got the stock answer, like the automated response, I just said, okay, I have to work harder. I have to write more resumes. I have to upload even more resumes. And so I just tried to upload more resumes. I spent 6 months uploading hundreds and hundreds of resumes. No response, no recruiters, approaching me on LinkedIn. I had a bare minimum LinkedIn profile. I thought it was a nice to have. I didn't know it was a must have. You cannot get a PhD level job without a LinkedIn profile. If you have no picture on LinkedIn, no LinkedIn profile, you are not going to get a job. And that's something that I didn't know. Once I changed my LinkedIn profile, literally within days, with some of the strategies I'm going to show you, I started getting contacted. I didn't know what transferable skills were, right? I didn't think about them. I just thought, oh, I need to prove and show my technical skills. But then I found out employers, they know I have technical skills, and if I didn't have the technical skills, they knew that I could learn them because I had a PhD. What they didn't know is if I had conflict resolution skills, or leadership skills, or communication skills, or project management skills, or people management skills. In other words, transferable skills. And then differentiating myself. A lot of hiring managers, they'll see PhD after PhD after PhD with the same background or a similar background. I didn't realize that they wanted to, in many cases, see a different side of me. They wanted to see like maybe my volunteer experience. Maybe they wanted to see things that I like to do on the weekend. They asked me behavioral questions that caught me off guard, all to see if I was just a normal functioning person. In the association, we recently had a series of talent acquisition specialists on, and including a hiring manager from Genentech and from Novartis, Roche, lots of other companies. We've had Intel, just many different companies on, Dow Chemical. And what they say over and over again is that there's really three things that they look out for into not hiring PhDs: arrogance, defensiveness, and awkwardness. I had no idea that these things mattered. I thought it was all about technical skills. So there's a lot of job search barriers, and due to these job search barriers, due to my lack of understanding as a PhD at the end of my PhD career, and many PhDs, their lack of understanding, this is why so many PhDs end up unemployed at some point in their career. In fact, 80% of life science PhDs will end up unemployed at some point. 60% of all PhDs will end up unemployed, and this is ridiculous. And the only reason you don't hear these numbers is because they count underemployment or they count training positions as actual employment, but it's not. And this is according to data by the National Science Foundation and the Royal Society. Also, here's the elephant in the room. There are no tenured professorships anymore. Less than 1% of PhDs will go on to be tenured professors. It's 0.45%. That's 1 in 222 only. Not only that, but because there's no professorships and PhDs are paid horribly. And I'll show you why in a second. You're paid horribly in academia. Look at this. You're paid half of what you're worth. The red bar, this is what you're worth in industry. Whether you're a math and computer science PhD, engineering PhD, physical sciences, psychology, and social sciences, right? The softer PhDs, the so-called softer PhDs, life science PhDs, everything but a few humanities and arts PhDs. For all of these fields, the average overall is about $91,000. That's what you are worth in industry. $91,000 a year or more. And I know that's hard to believe, and this is just the average. But look at the average postdoc salary. Overall, for these fields, it's about $46,000. And I'll show you more data on this. It's not much better if you are an assistant professor or professor in academia either. It's still very, very little, about half of what you're worth overall. Even if you become a PhD faculty member, it's very unlikely you're going to get tenure. Less than 30% chance. It's actually about down to 28% chance now. And the trend is going downward. 70% of professors used to get tenure in 75. Now it's about 20%. And it's simply because there's too many PhDs. And universities are granting more and more PhDs because they get paid from the government. They get more grant funding based on the amount of PhDs they produce. They should only get grant funding for the amount of PhDs they produce and get into good careers, the number of PhDs they get into good careers, but that's not the case. And so you have data like this. This is from the National Science Foundation. In a 4-year period, 100,000 PhDs were granted, but only 16,000 new professorships opened up. And this was between 2005 and 2009. Now, there are about 60,000 PhDs in the US alone that get granted. It's an astounding number. Look at this trend. You can see here that over the past 30 plus years, the number of postdocs has been skyrocketing. And I can tell you, this is 2010. 2017 is way up here. It's exponential now. There's literally a pileup of postdocs and PhDs with no jobs in academia, not because there's not jobs, not because they can't get jobs, not because their PhD is not valuable in industry, but because they don't know how to get jobs. And so they stay in academia. They end up unemployed or they get in a low-paying postdoc. And this is what has led to a PhD surplus in academia. And it's due to this PhD surplus. That's the reason why PhDs get paid so little. If your local grocery store had an oversupply of chicken noodle soup, what's going to happen to the price of chicken noodle soup? It's going to go down because there's an oversupply. It's simple supply and demand. And that's what's happened to PhDs. The NIH, National Institutes of Health, recommends a starting postdoc get paid $47,000, which is very little still. That's the guideline. Nobody follows this, though. The average salary, this is in the US, is only $46,000 for a postdoc. That's the average for all postdocs, whether you're a starting postdoc or a 10-year postdoc. This is horrible. This is unbelievably bad. I'm sure some of you are on here right now making less than this. It's $10,000 less than a high school teacher in the US and $10,000 less a year than a librarian. So again, it's very important for you to understand things are not getting better in academia. There's no job for you there. Staying in academia actually hurts your career more than helps it. Once you get your PhD and once you decide you want to go into industry, the time to do it is now. That's not saying if you have postdoc experience, you can't leverage it to your advantage. But don't think that industry companies want you to gain more academic experience after your PhD. They don't. They want you to gain on-the-job training. Very important. Now you're probably thinking, okay, this is the worst motivational webinar ever for PhDs. I came here for a blueprint. This is horrible. Remember, you have to understand the background, the introduction. You have to understand the scope, just like a peer-reviewed paper. But now I'm going to tell you what's possible. And these are examples I like to highlight. These are real people that you can go and find on LinkedIn right now and connect with them. They'll tell you their story. Shaya, she had a 2.5-year gap on her resume. 2.5 years of unemployment. Didn't have a visa, came to the US with no work visa, had no industry experience, was uploading resumes, not hearing anything back. She joined our association, applied the strategies I'm going to talk about here, got hired into a management job in R&D at a biopharmaceutical company. That's how valuable your PhD is in industry. You can have 2.5 years of unemployment, no visa, no industry experience, and still get employed because your PhD is incredibly valuable. Marcella Melby worked her whole life in academia. Very low paid professor. She has a PhD of education and learning, one of these so-called softer PhDs. Found out about this job title she didn't even know existed. She joined the association, got our job title guide, found out that this job title existed, got this job, makes 3 times as much money, is incredibly happy in industry now. Yuri Klashkin did a postdoc, lab ran out of money, went on unemployment for 8 months, had 3 kids, horrible situation. So he got into another postdoc after 8 months of unemployment. That lab ran out of money. Finally, he said enough is enough, joined the association, became a medical science liaison at Bristol Myers Squibb, making over $100,000 a year. A year later, got promoted to a regional medical liaison role in management, making over $150,000 a year. Did I say that already? $150,000 a year, literally 1 year after being out of academia at the Celgene Corporation. That is how valuable your PhD is. Jennifer Hubbard Smith, 18 months unemployed. Joined the association, applied the strategies we're going to talk about. Now she's an epidemiological specialist at Hawaii. Some of you are probably, you're facing winter right now. You're probably as jealous of her as I am. Finally, a couple more examples. And again, these are people you can reach out to right now or look up on LinkedIn. They're real people. Arunodoy Sur is from India, wanted to work in the U.S. It's not easy to get visa sponsorship in the U.S. from India. But he applied the association strategies for getting sponsorship. He was able to get strong referrals. He learned through our materials, and we bring on lots of immigration lawyers so that you can find out all the different rules and loopholes as they happen. And he was able to articulate this to employers, and they hired him because of it into a senior analyst role. We don't just help people get jobs in the U.S., though. Abba is a great example. She wanted to get a job in India, and we helped her get a job as a principal scientist at Enzene by applying the strategies you are about to learn. Now we're going to talk about sequence. Okay, sequence is very important. It's you have to follow the protocol in the right sequence, right? You can't take a protocol in the lab or a lesson plan or whatever it is and then do the last step first and the first step last and hope that things will work out. You have to follow the right sequence. Now, unfortunately, most PhDs think that the right sequence is just uploading resumes. If they upload resumes, they think it works like a peer-reviewed paper process, right? They upload resumes, and they think, there's 3 reviewers, and if that 3rd reviewer likes their resume, they'll get called in for an interview, and if they answer all the interview questions correctly, like it's an exam, they'll get hired. But it doesn't work like that. What you're looking at here is ATS software, applicant tracking system software. When you upload your resume online, it goes into a black hole. You never hear anything back, or you get an automated response. How many of you have uploaded a resume and not heard anything back or got an automated response? Tell me in the chat box. It's because of this software system. Large companies, the ones we've all heard of, like a Pfizer or an Amgen or a Dow Chemical or a Google, Apple, they'll receive 2,000 resumes per open position. 2,000 resumes. Kevin says, yes, I've done this. Faisal says, yes. Samara says, yes. Shira says, yes. Jamie says, yep. Yeah, this happens to all of us. Uploading resumes, they can't even read it. Yeah, and if it's a PDF, they can't even read. Some of the software systems can't even read a PDF. And so what happens if they can't read it, or if you don't hit these metrics, your resume gets grayed out automatically. Over 80% of resumes that are uploaded get grayed out instantly. And here's the problem. The metrics that they put into the software, they have to do with like the number of keywords or the right keywords that are on your resume, whether you put in the right salary expectations. If you have a gap in your resume, you'll get grayed out. It doesn't allow you to explain stuff because nobody's seeing your resume. It's just going in here and it's going off of metrics that you don't know. You have to get your resume into the hands of somebody. Nowadays, your job search, the first touch point in your job search is usually a referral or a phone screen. You'll get a phone screen. Usually it's because you got introduced to somebody, you got a job referral from your referral network or from networking, and that's how the job search starts. So the only time somebody will actually look at your resume or actually read it is when they're sitting across from you at an interview. Things have changed. And most jobs aren't even posted online. 80% of jobs are not posted online. The only jobs that are posted online are those from the really, really big companies that have the really, really big human resources departments. Only about 20 of the available jobs are posted online. And of those jobs, a lot of them are already filled. Due to government regulations, especially for publicly traded companies, each job has to be posted online for a certain number of weeks, even if the job's already been filled. If I'm an employer, I've already found somebody I want in this position, I still have to post the job online just due to a government regulation. So you could be applying to a job online that's already filled. You're just wasting your time. A metaphor I like to use is that when you look into space and you see this perfect looking star, you're like, wow, that's a beautiful star. Just like when you're online, you see this perfect job that's right for you. But the truth is that star blew up like 1 million years ago, and you're just seeing the residual light coming to Earth. All right, same thing. You see this perfect job online. It actually blew up. It was actually filled by somebody else weeks ago. And you're just wasting your time writing a resume for it. If you want to get hired, you have to start accessing the hidden job market, especially by looking at small and mid-sized companies. Now, when we hear small as PhDs, we're like, I don't want to work for a small company. I want to work for a big company. But small in industry means 100 to 1,000 employees. That's still very big. Mid-size means 1,000 to several thousand. Okay? Most people don't know how to look for those jobs. If you start setting up informational interviews, getting referrals, you can get hired very, very quickly through this referral system. And these small to medium-sized companies, they're on the steepest part of their growth curve. They're growing very, very fast. They have a lot of cash. They'll give you great packages, great benefits, great salary. So you have to start thinking outside the box. Jobs come through referrals now, especially PhD level jobs. And here's why. To get hired, the onboarding process in industry costs $60,000. $60,000 just to hire you before you've even done any work. That's the cost in man and woman hours for interviewing you, for doing the phone screens, for following up with your references, to checking and making sure everything's right on your LinkedIn profile, your resume, all the background checks, flying you out for a site visit. $60,000. Now, would you want to pay $60,000 for someone who you just read their resume and they wrote their own resume, right? No, you want to hear from somebody else that they're good to work with. This is why employee referrals are so important. And it's why companies incentivize employee referrals. They will pay an employee $1,000 to $2,000, if not higher, for executive positions, sometimes $5,000, if an employee refers somebody who ends up getting hired. This is what it was like for my job. If I got somebody else hired by referring them for the job, I got $1,000 bonus for each person I got hired. 1 year I got 3 people. That's $3,000 bonus. So they want to help you get referrals, right? Networking is the currency of industry. It's not a bad thing. It's good to network. They want you to network because they want to get you hired. And here's why, right? Referrals actually are the number one source of hiring volume now, number one source of hiring quality. The fastest you can get hired is through a referral, because once you get a strong referral, you'll have a phone screen, maybe a video interview, a site visit, and then you're hired, usually in about 2 weeks. It leads to the longest employment length because both the employer and the employee are happy because they have someone, a shared connection, who told both of them that it would be a good fit. Here's the key. Out of all jobs, all firms, 50% of all hires now at top firms are from referrals. For PhD level jobs, it's closer to 60 to 70%, which we're going to look at in a minute. But look at this. Only 7% of job applicants go after referrals, get referrals. Only 7%. So if there's 100 PhDs going after a job, only 7 of them are going to get referrals. And those 7 are going to get more than half of the jobs. So you can put yourself ahead of 93% of the competition just by getting a referral. So I'm going to show you some data. We're PhDs, right? We want to look at the data. According to the Job Resources Consulting Group, 48% of jobs come through networking, 24% through direct contact with employers. Both of these are technically networking and getting referrals. That's 72%. Internet, only 6%. Why are you putting your hopes here in the 6%? Once again, different study, 30% networking, 30% direct interactions with employers. That's 60%. Applying to job boards, 5%. Why are you putting your career hopes and dreams in the 5% bucket? One more again, research and networking. Same thing, 60%. That's 60 to 70% mark. Internet job search, 3.6. It's a waste of time. So again, this is the incorrect job search workflow. If you're spending most of your time writing resumes, thinking about interview questions, this is a waste of time. Instead, you need to flip this on its head. Flip it around and spend most of your time creating a job search strategy and networking. It should look like this: networking and generating referrals, creating a job search strategy, actually knowing the job titles you're a good fit for, creating credibility. Faisal says, I'm really enjoying your talk. Thank you. And I'll have plenty of time to answer everybody's questions at the end. Networking and generating referrals. Again, that's where you should spend most of your time creating a job search strategy and creating credibility. And you'll spend very little time preparing for interviews. You'll get an interview. You'll practice the day before. You'll be set. Once you have the overall strategy down, writing your resume, you'll get your resume template in place, and you'll just adapt it and tweak it for each individual job. Now, when it comes to networking, you can't do things backwards either. Right? Don't just scroll through LinkedIn and send some LinkedIn messages. You meet a few people at the same seminar on campus, and that's it. Right? You have to get into small groups and associations that are dedicated to helping you get a job. These are small job referral networks, specific job referral networks. You also need to follow up with your individual connections. Following up, that's real networking. So you should flip it like this. Following up is where you should be spending most of your time. And then you need to get into small groups and associations. You need to get into these specific groups that can help you get a job. I call them these pre-made job referral networks. And that's what the association is. And then you'll spend very little time, online. You'll use LinkedIn to do this, to follow up. You'll use LinkedIn to stay connected and to get job referrals. This is something that Natalie did. She's a great example. She was a professor in academia her whole life, didn't have any industry experience whatsoever. And this is what we hear from a lot of PhDs. I can't get a job. I don't have any industry experience. Not true. She had no industry experience. She transitioned into an associate director role at Regeneron. And now she's helping many different associates get hired. She's actually trying to hire several of them right now to get a job at Regeneron. That's the power of the association, is the network. Lillian Josephson, she's a great example, and we have many others. One thing we hear a lot is, well, you need a postdoc experience to get into a senior role in industry. You need a postdoc to get into a good company in industry. Or there's no way to transition right from your PhD into a senior role. Not true. Lillian did it. She was a PhD candidate at the University of Delaware. Before she graduated, she lined up a job as a senior scientist at L'Oreal. Now, this doesn't mean you can't use your postdoc experience to your advantage. It just means you don't need to do another postdoc or another year of your postdoc. Once you know you want to work in industry, the time to do it is now. Nick Ross, stuck in a a low-paying TA job for over 5 years. This will sound familiar for many of you. I'm sure a lot of you are in these TA positions or contract positions. He had an engineering background. He didn't think he could get a job with engineering. He was actually hesitant to join the association because he thought it was mostly life science based, but we have over 20% are engineers. Joined the association. Now he has a job as a senior packaging R&D engineer at Intel, a little company called Intel. You probably heard of it. Ari Ashok, same thing. Got a job right after her getting her PhD into a director role. She's been hired. She's been promoted several times while she's been in the association. One more example, Yafi, straight from his PhD, right into a clinical account specialist position. He had 4 or 5 jobs lined up for him before he graduated. So no matter where you are, don't wait. Don't wait till your lab runs out of money. Don't wait till you graduate. The time to start preparing to get into an industry job is now. Now, I do want to say one quick note. The enrollment into the association is open now. I do want to put up a little pop-up with a button that says Get Big Interview Bonus. I'm going to explain what that is. So we have a lot of bonuses today because it's opening day. I'm just going to talk about them briefly, and then we're going to go into the detailed strategies. So today's opening day. The opening day is almost over, though. But if you do join the association today, and today only, you get this advanced LinkedIn toolbox and LinkedIn ebook bundle, which includes videos that show you how to easily and successfully leverage LinkedIn, hidden secret LinkedIn gems for PhDs, advanced LinkedIn tools for efficiency, networking templates, LinkedIn profile templates. This is from our friends at LinkedIn Makeover. They are LinkedIn specialists. We cover LinkedIn in full in the association, of course, but this just takes it to a next level, and you get all of these training materials for free only if you join the association today. We also have a bonus just for this webinar, and it's a great bonus. If you join the association while you're on this webinar, you will get access to Big Interview. And if you Google Big Interview, you'll see what it is. It's this amazing software platform where you can test yourself against virtual interviewers. And it's incredible because you can record yourself side by side and then rewatch it and see how you react to the interviewer's questions. This is the best interviewing prep you can possibly get without having to organize, a big ordeal of organizing everybody to show up in person like what you did probably for a mock thesis defense. There's many different levels. There's the entry level, mid-level, senior level, all the way up to tough behavioral questions like, why are you leaving academia? Why do you want to work in industry? Are you a quitter? If you quit academia, how do we know you're not going to quit industry? How would you solve this tough problem? Tell us about a time you had a conflict with your advisor and what happened. What did he do? Was he a bad boss? What's your biggest weakness? These kind of questions that can really catch you off guard and keep you from getting a job. This program will prepare you for it, and you can only get it if you join the association during this webinar. Once the webinar is over, you can't get this bonus. And it comes with all these different modules, all these different materials. So I just wanted to mention that really quick before we get into strategy. So we're getting into strategy now. This is where we're going to get into the details. And again, I'm trying to cover as much information as I can. The first thing I want to talk about is credibility. Okay, what builds industry credibility? How can you build industry credibility before you even have ever had an industry job? Here's how. There's 5 things. The first is by having professional awareness. This means not doing things like reaching out to somebody you've never met and asking them for a job right away. Worst thing you can do. It means being organized instead of being desperate. It means following up with people on a weekly or bi-monthly basis instead of just randomly following up with them, because believe it or not, they'll notice. It means having a professional industry resume, professional LinkedIn profile, and a robust referral network. Now, this is why we recommend the association to PhDs, because it has a pre-made job referral network. If you want to build your own referral network from scratch, you can, but it'll take you years. It can take a PhD on average 2 years of doing their job search to get hired. 2 years. If you want to do that, spend 2 years struggling and cold contacting people on LinkedIn because you've never, ever built up your network, you can. Or you can get access to a pre-made job referral network. Now, one thing we recommend for all new associates and for all PhDs is to create a job search strategy spreadsheet, the JS3 spreadsheet. It's very simple. You can do it in Excel. And this is something that we've had all different PhDs from all different backgrounds do. Social sciences, they've used this effectively. Life sciences, physical sciences, engineering, humanities, everything. Math, computers. And what the value is here is it'll help you have an organized approach. Now, here's the problem. Most PhDs, they will get a job lead or see a job posting, and they'll go after that one job lead all the way until they get rejected. And then they'll go after one other job lead all the way until they get rejected. And they do this over and over again, and they wonder why they don't get hired. In reality, you should be going after dozens and dozens of job leads at the same time. You need to create this kind of synergy or deal flow where your resume is being passed around between companies because you're going after several different jobs. This is a good thing. You can't do that when you're just going after one job lead at a time. So for each of these rows, you need to have a company name. You have the actual job posting or your notes from an informational interview, because a lot of jobs aren't posted online. A contact name, your contact who works at that company, the last time you contacted them, and the next time you plan on contacting them. You need to be much, much more organized. A job search is a small job in itself. Now, where we see most PhDs getting hired is not when they have one row filled out, but when they have anywhere from 30 to 100 rows filled out. That's how many different job leads you have to be going after at the same time to get hired. And if you don't have job referrals, if you don't have contacts or people to help you do this or stay accountable, it's going to be very hard. But you have to get this organized if you want a PhD level job. If you want to work at McDonald's, it's easy. You just go in, fill out an application, that's it. But if you want a $90,000 or more a year PhD level job, even a $60,000 a year or more PhD level job, you have to get this kind of organized. You have to change your threshold to this level of going after 30 to 100 job leads at once. And yes, you can have multiple leads in the same company, Mitch. You also need to get your professional presence and your professional profile in order first. Think of it this way. You want to build your house before inviting people into it. Don't just start networking and randomly reaching out to people if you don't have a LinkedIn profile. Because the first thing they're going to do for anybody that employs anyone is go to your LinkedIn profile. And then after they have a phone screen with you or on an interview, they're going to ask you for your resume. Or before they even give you a referral, they're going to ask you for a resume. So you need to get those two things in shape first. Now, we did a complete training a couple of weeks ago on resumes. So I'm just going to go through it here pretty quickly. We go into resumes and have lots of resumes templates for you in the association. But here I'll tell you that, remember first, get job leads through referrals and automatic alerts. Don't just waste your time trolling job boards. Use Google Alerts. You can set up an alert so that you'll get an email from Google anytime somebody posts a new job online by putting an alert for that job title or for that company. And so I'll put that link in there, google.com/alerts. Remember that your resume is a persuasive document. You need to talk about your accomplishments. Don't be shy. If you don't tell people you're right for the job and you're not enthusiastic about your ability to do the job well, why should anybody hire you? Why would anybody else be enthusiastic about you? You need to focus on a strong professional summary statement, not your publications. Your results matter. You have to communicate them. Don't just do a works cited section of your publication and think that's going to get you hired. Nobody should be using EndNote on their resume. Let's put it that way. You want to use result-oriented bullet points, not descriptions of your job duties. Methodologies and jargon shouldn't be on your resume because the only people to read your resume most often, especially early on in the process, are hiring managers who, in most cases, don't have a PhD. Most of them have a bachelor's degree. You want to use company and position-specific keywords, not your own little clever words, right? You can't plagiarize a job posting. Use the exact words that that company's using that's on the company website, is on the job posting, that you hear from the employees during an informational interview. Use those keywords. Also, limit to 2 pages or less with lots of white space, not heavy text. I'll show you an example of that in a second. You want to format for top to bottom reading, not left to right reading. You want to highlight publications as a quantified result, and you want to submit your resume directly to a person. Now, real quickly here, what's the difference between the piece of paper on the left and the right? The right has a lot more of what? White space. A lot more white space. Look at these huge indents. This is great. Look at how easy it is to see these different headers. Now, the top 1/3 of your resume, this is called the visual center. This is the most important part. You should have 3 bullet points, only 3 bullet points with your biggest accomplishments, your biggest career highlights right here, then your professional experience, and then your education, and so on. But you want to have these big indents because people skim resumes. Peer-reviewed eye tracking studies show that hiring managers, employers only spend 5 to 7 seconds on your resume. And so they'll read it up and down by skimming it like this. right? They're not going to read it like a novel where they read everything carefully from left to right. Now, this is one of our premier resume templates that you'll get access to in the association. Again, you have that professional summary, work experience, education, technical experience. We recommend this because it allows you to put all the instruments you know how to use, all the reagents, the software programs, the languages you speak, the certifications. It's a great way to list these out because recruiters get these lists from employers. And if they see a keyword in your technical experience, they're much more likely to call you or offer you the job. You also want an awards, organizations, and hobbies section. Very crucial because remember, the hiring manager, they want to see that you are human, right? They want to see that you're well-rounded, that you've done things outside of the lab or outside of the classroom, outside of your PhD work. Make sure you're putting in those things in this section. Okay, again, we go into massive depth into resumes in our program, but again, I'm trying to get to as much material as I can here. So good to see some of you on. Don't worry, we will be answering questions. Good questions I've seen come up from Amy. Hello, Usha. Good to see you too. Okay, 9 keys of crafting a professional profile on LinkedIn. You want a professional headshot, of course. We have examples of this. I don't have time to go into it, but it's crucial. You want to do a 3-answer headline. You need a results-oriented professional summary, just like your results-oriented professional summary on your resume. You can use images and UR thumbnails on LinkedIn, which is crucial now too, because it keeps people on your LinkedIn profile longer. It also increases your visibility via LinkedIn's algorithm. Make your work experience skimmable. Get some references. You need to leverage 99 plus skill endorsements. We'll talk about that. You need to use keywords here too, and we're going to talk about keywords. Self-published articles are great. Write a summary of the field you're interested in. Write a summary of the field you're currently working in. LinkedIn loves this, and it's a great way to connect to other people. LinkedIn will show your profile to many more people if you write one simple summary article. The 3 questions you need to answer in your headline, this is the most important real estate on LinkedIn. It's the most heavily weighted space. And it's what LinkedIn looks at first when somebody else does a search for like a project manager position. So imagine you want to get hired as a project manager. What should you put in your headline? Well, first put who you are professionally, right? Whether you're an analytical chemist or a social scientist or a immunologist, put that there. Then put something personal. Remember, hiring managers are reading these. They want to know you're well-rounded. They know you have the technical skills. Put something else in here. Put that you volunteered at a certain location. Put that you are into arts and crafts, right? Something that's kind of personal, but not too personal, obviously, but like a hobby. If you can't think of anything, just say you're a hiking enthusiast. Do you walk to lab? Do you walk to the classroom? Great. You're a hiking enthusiast. Maybe you like to ride your bike. You like to be outdoors. Those are all easy ones, but just show that you're well-rounded, something they can identify with, even if they don't have a PhD. Also, what do you want professionally? This is where you have to find a way to put the job titles that you want, right? So if you want to be a project manager, the first thing employers for project management positions are going to search is project manager or project management. So find a way to put that in your headline. You can either just put project manager, or you can put interested in project manager positions, or you can get clever and say have skills relevant to project manager positions, or have skills relevant to project management, whatever it might be. You have to find a way to work it in because it's very valuable real estate. And again, the job titles are the first words that employers will search. If you have less than 500 connections on LinkedIn, LinkedIn will reduce your visibility. You must have more than 500 connections. So a great way to get above 500 is to put LION on your LinkedIn profile or Let's Connect. LION means LinkedIn Open Networker. Let's Connect, both of them just mean, hey, connect with me and I'll connect with you. It's a great way to increase your numbers and to start networking. Now, whether it's your resume or your LinkedIn profile, they both have a professional summary section. And each bullet point or sentence, right, for your resume or LinkedIn respectively, needs to have these 3 parts. First, start with a transferable skill. That's the thing employers care about the most, your transferable skill. Not your action verbs, right? Transferable skills. Do you have leadership skills, communication skills, conflict resolution skills, and so forth? We have an entire transferable skill guide in the association. Also, end it with a quantified result. What are the results you've achieved? I'll show you some of those results. And then sandwich it together with your technical experience. So on LinkedIn, again, I showed you where your professional summary is on a resume. Here's where it is on LinkedIn. It's right under the top. And unfortunately, only the first sentence shows up unless you click see more, and then it will show the other two. This is what each professional summary bullet point or sentence should look like. Starts with a transferable skill, ends with a quantified result, sandwich your technical experience in the middle. So this one would be strong leadership skills with experience in managing research professionals on collaborative projects, resulting in 8 publications and $250,000 in lab grant funding. That is a beautiful sentence or bullet point for your resume, for your LinkedIn profile or your resume, respectively. Now, another question we get asked a lot is, well, I don't have any results. I haven't achieved anything. Of course you have. Number of publications, that's a quantified result. Number of presentations, number of collaborations, especially cross-functional collaborations. Write down that word, cross-functional. Industry employers love it. It means that you are able to work with people who you have no authority over and still get stuff done, which is what you spend most of your time doing in academia, working with people you can't fire to get stuff done, cross-functional collaborations. The number of optimized or innovated methodologies, number of discoveries, number of patents, number of grants, number of grant funding, all quantifiable results. We go into the detail in the association as well. Now, how do you finalize your LinkedIn profile? How do you finalize your resume? You want to add keywords that are relevant for the positions and the jobs you want. And so this is just a listing of a job on LinkedIn. And a job posting will have a list of the role, an overview of the role. You want to go through the overview of the role, go through the job posting, and look for the keywords they're using. A keyword is are words that are specific for that job and that are used frequently, repetitively. If they're used more than once, especially, it means they're really important. So here, if you go through this one individually, you can see that development, right? Drug development, drug discovery, development's used over and over again. Formula, product formulations, formulations used a couple times. Again, development, drug candidates, development. These are all keywords. Now, for your resume, the strategy is pretty simple. You write one resume for every job opening. So you find the keywords on that one job opening or that one job posting or notes from your informational interview, and you add those keywords to your resume. Done. But for your LinkedIn profile must appeal to many different job postings for many different companies. So what you need to do is you need to collect multiple job postings. You need to survey different job postings for all the different job titles you want. I recommend finding 5 to 10 different job postings for each job title you want, taking all of that text together and going through it for the keywords. Now, of course, that could take a long time, but I have a hack for you, for those of you who haven't heard of it yet. Use a word cloud. Take all that content, all that text from all the job postings, copy and paste it into a free word cloud platform, such as wordclouds.com or wordle.com. I'll put one here in the chat box. Word clouds. And the biggest word will be the words that you want to use. And you take 5 or 10 of the biggest words, the words that are the most frequent in all of those job postings, and you put them into your LinkedIn profile. Now, here's another little hack. This is your skills that you can get endorsed. You can have as many skills as you want, but LinkedIn only shows your top 3 skills now. So those top 3 ones are critical. The good news is you get to choose them. Now, what I recommend is that you take whatever ones you have the most endorsements for, like if you have 2 with 99 plus endorsements, and then write another one that is a crucial keyword for the job you want the most. In this case, this person wanted a job as an analyst, and scientific due diligence was really important. But he didn't have that listed as a skill yet. So he wrote it in as a skill, he added it, and then he moved it to his top 3 next to these 99 plus ones. And within a couple of weeks, LinkedIn showed it to so many people, he already had 59 people endorse him for it. Right? So this is a hack. What this means is you can put anything here in the 3rd position next to your other 2 highest skills, and LinkedIn will show it to more people so you can get it endorsed quickly. Now we're going to talk a little bit about networking and then bring everything together. So what keeps PhDs from networking is they feel kind of like sleazy, like they want something and they think that it makes them manipulative, or they just don't feel good about it. It's uncertain. They feel uncomfortable. They feel like a stalker if they're reading somebody's LinkedIn profile carefully. They might feel like a phony, like they're being fake. So the key is when you're networking, you have to be sincere. You have to realize that no matter what field you get into in industry, and certainly in academia, you've learned this, it's a small world out there. There's going to be very few people in that field overall. And so you need to start building professional relationships for them now and for the long term. You're not just looking to have somebody help you get a job and never talk to them again. You want to keep those relationships going. It's a long-term relationship. So you got to be sincere. And don't feel like a stalker. If somebody puts something on their LinkedIn profile, they're hoping, they're begging that somebody will read it. They're so proud of it. They put it out there for the entire world to see, and they're just hoping and praying somebody will read it carefully. And you can be that person. Networking is the currency of industry. The most manipulative thing you can do is just to reach out to somebody you don't know and ask them for a job. That's not something you would do. It's like building a friendship. You want to reach out, add value over and over again before you ever ask for anything. That's the most important part of networking. So when it comes to online networking, we don't have time to go into event networking and everything. That we covered that in the association. But the first thing is to get your professional profiles in order first, which we've talked about. Then you want to do your homework on them. Focus on them, not you. And treat them as an equal. Don't act like a beggar, like you're begging for a job, and don't act arrogant either. You want to write specific personal subject lines to them, not something vague like, hey, or how are you, or circling back, or getting back in touch. No, make it specific. Think up something that they're interested in. Maybe they like, one of their, they follow Richard Branson as an influencer. The subject line could be, did you see Richard Branson's new book? Right? Find out what they're interested in and write something specific and personal to them as a subject line. Because that's the most important part of any message you send. The first line on LinkedIn or the subject line in an email. The second most important part is the PS. Because believe it or not, when you get an email, especially from somebody you don't know, and especially a longer email, you scroll to the bottom first to see how much time you're going to have to invest in reading that email. What's at the bottom? The PS. So it actually makes the second most read part of any message. And it's a great place to ask a simple yes or no question to get a response. Don't reach out to somebody and not ask a question. They're not going to respond. That's just a statement. You need to ask a question. Also, set measurable goals for your networking. Say, okay, I want to reach out to 2 people a day. I want to go to 1 networking event a week. Make it a goal. Focus on quality, not quantity. And again, follow up by adding value. Add value before you ask for anything. It's very important to understand that connecting is what happens when you meet somebody. It's not networking. Most of you thought if you've been networking all this time, you've only been connecting. Reaching out to somebody on LinkedIn to get sending a connection request. It's called a connection request for a reason. It's just connecting. Most of us have gone to poster sessions or we've gone to conferences, collected a bunch of business cards, never heard from any of those people again, never reached out to any of them again. You never actually networked. You just connected, got their information. You didn't network because networking is the relationship building process. It's what happens when you follow up with somebody. So LinkedIn networking, email networking, online networking in general, this is what not to do. Don't send a really long message about yourself, right? Like this is some sort of luncheon seminar and everybody's going around and talking about their research or their work. No, that's the worst thing you can do. Nobody's going to answer this. Don't talk about yourself, and especially don't ask for something from somebody you haven't met. Here's everything, all these different details about me and how great I am. Can you get me a job? Worst thing ever to do. Very desperate, very sloppy, very unprofessional. Instead, this is what you want your messages to look like. Hello, Robert. I came across your article on designing peptides, and I must say I thoroughly enjoyed reading your take on XYZ. It's great to see someone in the field doing such great work. Keep it up. That is a great way to approach somebody as a colleague, as an equal. Hey, I really like this. Keep up the great work. Thanks again, Roger. P.S. I saw you're in XYZ LinkedIn group. Did you see this post? What do you think about it? Do you like it? Yes, no? Do you agree? Something like that. Make it easy. Don't ask them a question that would require them to write a paragraph back to you. Ask them a question that requires a simple yes, no, or hey, looks good. Makes them much more likely to get back to you. And that way you can start building the relationship. Another question we get asked a lot is 7 ways to add value online. The question we get asked is, how do you add value online? Here are 7 ways. First of all, show appreciation as a colleague, right? The keep up the great work line. That's an easy one. Compliment their work. Read something they did. Read a paper. Look at what else they're on. Find them on other social media platforms. See what else they're producing. Look at their company website. What are they doing? People want to be appreciated. They're dying for appreciation. I guarantee every one of you right now feels underappreciated, probably underpaid and underappreciated, right? Like, how great would it be if somebody called you in the lab and said, hey, I read your paper and I just want to say you are doing incredible work. Keep it up. You'd be like, what just happened? I don't even accept this. You'd be like, what is going on? And imagine if they knew details about what you were doing and they brought up certain points that you did. You'd be like, oh my God, this is the best day of my life. I haven't had anybody say a nice word to me in 54 weeks, right? That's a full year for those of you that are good at math. So people want to be appreciated. Show appreciation for them, compliment their work, congratulate their career progress. If they had a promotion in the last 1 or even 2 years, reach out to them and congratulate them. That is still a fresh promotion. Hey, I saw you got the new job last year. I just happened to see it on your profile. Congratulations. How are you enjoying it? That's a great way to lead into an informational interview request. People love to give their opinions and advice. Ask for their advice on something simple. They will absolutely want to give it to you. A great subject line is, hey, quick question, need your advice. Not I need anything from you, but I need your advice. It's actually asking for something, but it's like giving, because people want to give quick advice. They love giving quick advice. They're dying for somebody to ask them for their opinion. Make a recommendation, right? Look at, again, the influencers they follow. Going back to the Richard Branson example. Say, hey, did you see this new article from Richard Branson's blog? Or did you see this new book? I know that you follow him as an influencer too. Just thought you might like it. And finally, make an introduction. Quit worrying about getting introduced to people and start introducing others to each other. A great strategy here is to find somebody you know in your network really well and somebody you don't know at all and connect them and say, hey, I have a friend that is really into XYZ as well as you. I think you guys might be able to connect. You both like this kind of programming. You've both done this or been here, and connect them. You'd reach out to each of them individually first to make sure they're up for the connection, and then connect them. I guarantee some of you have been introduced to somebody else or have had this happen to you where you're connected to somebody else by someone. It's like finding free money. You can't even believe it. Networking so hard, and somebody went through all that trouble to connect you to somebody else and to increase your network just like that. It's an amazing gift. It's a great give. Tufan, hey, this is not the same information as the resume webinar. Actually, we're covering networking here. We didn't talk about networking on the resume webinar. So keep it clean or goodbye. Another thing on LinkedIn is the alumni network. And to do this, you have to actually type in linkedin.com/alumni. And if you do that, this is an incredible way to meet other people who you have instant rapport with. So go to LinkedIn. Oh, has some extra text in it. So go to this one. It's LinkedIn/alumni. And that will allow you to connect with people in your undergrad institution, or it'll allow you to connect to people at your university that you got your PhD from, or that you're doing your postdoc at. Either way, it's very, very useful, because you can find somebody that graduated 30 years ago who's working at a company you want to work at, and mention the fact that you both went to the same university and ask them for some pointers on how they got into their career. And they'll be very likely to do it because you both spent so much time at the same university. It's a very powerful resource, and I highly recommend it. Now, how do you bring everything together? Simple research. And all of you know how to do this. And for some reason, PhDs, they are masters of researching PubMed. And you'll find an article, and you'll go to a reference in that article, and then you go to another reference in the next article, and then the next article, you find another reference, and you go down this rabbit hole, and you're just intense, very, very practiced researchers when it comes to your specific field. But then when it comes to getting a job, it's like we forget all of those research skills. But they're there. You just have to find the right keywords and the right places to look. And it can be as simple as starting with a Google search, right? So instead of saying, but again, keywords matter. Now, what most people do is they get online and they search best companies in Boston, best biotechs in Boston, best engineering companies in Boston, top companies that hire social scientists in Boston. This is a mistake, because it's going to show you the same 10 companies everybody's already heard of, right? The same 10 companies that just post jobs online that are already filled. Instead, start searching small biotechs in Boston, or mid-size biotechs in Boston, or you can start searching, for whatever city's near you. And what you're going to get is you're going to get lists of companies that you've never even heard of, right? So whatever city you're from, remind me again, for some of you that are in a big city, or what city you're in, or the biggest city that's near you. Tell me in the chat box. And I know some of you have seen some of these slides before. That's okay. These are our free public webinars. They are the webinars that we show to get as much value out there as we can for free. They're obviously free webinars. Thank you. Cherry says she's really happy with the webinar. We'll go through in-depth information. There's going to be a lot of overlap because basically what we do is we take the entire blueprint of getting a job and then we chop it up into various pieces. And we focus mainly on resumes and then mainly on LinkedIn. And here we'll focus on like the overall blueprint as much as we can. So of course, for the overall blueprint, you're going to see pieces of everything that has been on the other webinars. This is a free public series that we do as a free promotion during our association enrollment. And a lot of you, whether it's Toronto or we have Kathy in Toronto or Amy in Phoenix. We just had an associate get hired in Phoenix. Afzal in Houston or Kevin in Seattle or Yi in Chicago, Laura in Philadelphia, right? You can search the same thing, right? Start searching small biotechs in Seattle or, mid-sized companies in Toronto, wherever it's at. And you'll see these lists of companies. People love to catalog companies. And most of the companies that are out there that will hire you and give you great packages, you've never heard of. And this was a random search that I did. The very first time I did it was completely random. That's why I chose the second thing that came up on Google, not the first one. And then I chose the second company, random, Ocular Therapeutics, never heard of it. I started typing the company name in on LinkedIn. Of course, it was there because 96% of all companies are on LinkedIn. It came up. They have their whole company page, and this is all free. And I'm not even a premium member anymore. Their entire company page is here. I can learn everything about their company, and it shows me all the employees at that company. It's literally just waiting for you. And as a PhD, you have a huge advantage because you know how to research. You know how to apply a scientific method. So you click on 129 employees. It shows you all the employees at that company. And for many of you, if you have a very limited network, you're not going to see these shared connections. You're just going to see, Jessica, Amar, Jamie, the people that work at the company, and you're going to have to cold contact them. And that's where you can get stuck. And the reason we created the association is because we wanted to make it easy for PhDs to get referrals for jobs. So that if you find a company you want to work at, you can do the search we just did. You can find someone who works at that company, again, using the methods we just did. And then you'll have shared connections because you'll be connected with 4,000 other associates as soon as you join the association. So in this case, my strategy would be like, okay, I'm not going to reach out to Amar because he's the chairman. He's never going to get back to me. I'm not going to reach out to Anne because she's a director. Instead, I'm going to reach out to people who are in those cross-functional roles that we talked about earlier. Like if I want to get a job in R&D as like a research scientist or a research engineer or whatever it might be, then I want to reach out to Jamie in medical affairs or Jessica in marketing or David as an analytical chemist. These are all cross-functional relationships. Let's say I reach out to David. I could reach out to David and cold contact him directly, and that's what many PhDs have to do. Or because I'm an associate, and this is actually a snapshot of an associate's profile, they have 8 shared connections already. All of these different connections, which means that this person can reach out to Dane or Alex or Anna and say, hey, I'm also in the association. I'd really like to get in touch with David Snook to learn more about his career. Could you set up an introduction? And what that introduction is it's essentially a mini referral. So you get a mini referral, and then you can ask for a real referral from David to get hired at that company. That is how you get hired in industry. That's the process. And you can see there's 2 keys to getting hired in industry. One, you have to understand the blueprint. There's a lot of misinformation online, a lot of outdated materials. You need a blueprint that's specific for PhDs, that's in order, that's organized, that has people to help you with it too. Not just like, hey, here's a bunch of materials, figure it out yourself. You need to have that step-by-step help too. And the second part is you need a pre-made job referral network, a network of PhDs to hold you accountable to following this correct job search workflow. So the question we get now is, can you do this? You absolutely can do this. I showed you all the different PhDs in the association currently who have transitioned successfully. I showed you a lot of them that many of you probably went to LinkedIn to see that they are real people. Whether it's you want a job at one of the most difficult companies to get hired at ever, like McKinsey & Company, we've placed people there. Vincent Genest got a job there recently. If you need a job in a hurry, like Martin, you got a job within 4 days after enrolling. If you have a more conservative culture, right? You're from a different culture. Networking is a little bit different for you. That's fine. We have people from 34 different countries. This was the case for Lokta. We helped her get hired. Jack Martura wanted a job as a medical science liaison, one of the hottest jobs right now. Again, whether you're in engineering, your social sciences, physical sciences, life sciences, we have you covered. The key is that you can't keep doing the same things over and over and think you're going to get a job, right? Your old habits are going to keep you there. You can't hide from the data either. You cannot hide from the data. We're PhDs. We have to look at the data. Your job prospects in academia, they're not good. You're not going to get hired there. And so right now you have three choices. You can do nothing and things will stay exactly the same. You can keep trying to do it alone, which makes no sense. I mean, think about how many mentors and how much help, whether it's help from the government in forms of a grant, whether it's people who taught you in classes, whether it's advisors, thesis committee members, you get lots of help in academia, for better or for worse, and it's still hard, even with all that help. Some of you probably realize you don't have enough help. So why would you try to do something as complicated as a job search alone, from scratch, with no network? Makes no sense. And that's why you have this third option now to get access to the association and get the support you need, specifically for PhDs. I have been there. I understand. I didn't want to join anything. I wanted to, I thought somehow it became, after so many years in academia, I thought the only way to do anything good for my career, my life, was to publish another paper or get another grant. And I just kept beating my head against the wall. And then I thought, okay, I just have to keep writing resumes. And I also thought, I can do this myself. That's like the PhD mantra, right? I can do this myself. I don't need any help. It wasn't the case. And that's, again, why we created the association. So last chance here, we're gonna try to bring on somebody live. It's always good to have somebody else to talk to that's actually in the association now, just to say hi. You're probably tired of listening to me, but I do want to mention really quick that today, right, this expires in just a few hours, midnight. After midnight, you can no longer get the opening day bonus, which is this LinkedIn bonus. You get all of these materials. You get the entire LinkedIn Makeover Toolbox. You get the complete ebook bundle, all for free. This has templates for your LinkedIn profile. If you don't want to rewrite your LinkedIn profile from scratch, you definitely need this. And then during this webinar only, so when this webinar closes, you can no longer get this free bonus. This is the big interview bonus. This is the software program. It's amazing. You go through all the different levels of interviewing. You practice against those hard, tough questions, those behavioral interview questions. Like, what's your biggest weakness? Why are you leaving academia? Why are you here? Why are you choosing us over another company? Tough questions that you need to practice. And you can record yourself and watch the interaction between you and the virtual interviewer. It's amazing. And then we can even go on there and add some other things too. Add some additional trainings on there. So you keep getting better and better training through Big Interview. All these different modules. So this is free. Now the association, if we could put everything into one slide, we could. We did our best here. It comes with over 100 core training videos, a transition plan that shows you step by step how to figure out which jobs are right for you and which professional lifestyle you actually want. We have over 40 different industry career track training videos, so you can actually learn about the different tracks that are out there. Right? There's not just one or two options. There's many. We have our industry insider documents and workbooks. You get a webinar season pass. You're a lifetime member, so you get to see all of our webinars forever. We've had many associates come and get their first job. A year later, come back in to get help again to get their second job, and so on. But the key here is that we do 30, sometimes up to 50 new trainings a year. You also get access to a members directory where you can connect to everybody directly through the directory, which is linked to their LinkedIn profile too. If I have time, I'll show that. And then finally, we have a job reference guide. We don't believe in job boards, but we have a reference guide, we call it, because it pulls everything together from all the jobs online, and it shows those to you as a reference so you can use them to find keywords and learn what's available and what the trends are. It comes with a private group. We have, almost 3,000 active members in the private group now, much higher than this. And we have almost 4,000, we actually have over 4,000 now members total in the association. And the associates are real people, and they meet up in person all over the world. So no matter what city you're in, there's at least one other associate nearby that you can meet up with and, again, work with to get hired. There's no reason that PhDs can't help each other get hired. You're not competitors. There are many, many jobs in industry. And we've been working together for a long time to get PhDs hired together. This is the members directory, very, very sleek. You can see here. You can search by career interest, field of study, location. and it connects directly to their LinkedIn profile. We're not trying to recreate LinkedIn here. Instead, we make it as easy as possible to navigate and to go directly to somebody's LinkedIn profile and ask them for a referral because you're now associates with them. Now, before you saw the webinar, right, especially if this is the first time you've been on any of our webinars, you could say, hey, it's academia's fault. They didn't train me. And it was the system's fault in some sense. They led you to believe there was all these jobs for you, and if you just followed the rules. Welcome, Matthew Weaver just joined. Oh, Gitika too. Gitika Shrivasta. Welcome. But now you know the truth. Now you know where you can get help. Now you know how to get an industry job. Real quick, we have our core system that's where you'll start once you join. You'll go through module 1 first. This is where you create your foundational job search strategy. It's where you create your resume, your LinkedIn profile. You get everything in order. You determine your transferable skills, how to communicate them, how to reach out to recruiters. Then in module 2, you figure out your company fit and industry position strategy. So you find the companies and the positions that are right for you. And again, there's step-by-step trainings here. I'll open up the program if I have time here to show you. Module 3 is all about networking and getting job referrals. So it shows you how to reach out to people in depth. Lots of networking scripts. We have an entire guide full of 40 advanced networking scripts from people who are in the association that share it daily on the ground. They're sharing what works. Module 4, your interviewing and job offer negotiation strategy. Very, very important here. Obviously, we didn't have time to cover interviewing today or negotiation, but these are crucial to getting hired. And a site visit is a big deal. You have to meet with 4, 5, 6 different people. You have to present. And this is why we're offering the big interview software program, because when you go to a site visit, you better be very, very prepared, because that's what's going to make or break getting the job. By the time you get to a site visit, it's down to 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 people at the most. And so it's yours to either win or to lose. Now, we talked a lot about who the program is for, right? If you want to get a job in an industry, you have a PhD or about to have a PhD, this program is for you. But it's not for these 3 people, and they're kind of fun names we come up with for not very fun people. If you're a tire kicker, right, if you want to join the the webinar too, right? Some people join a webinar and they just want to tell you everything that's wrong with it. There's other people that join programs and they want to tell you everything that's wrong with it. That's not who we're looking for. That would not be a good fit. And we all know PhDs like that, and that's fine. There's a place for you, but it's just not in this program. Also, for the know-it-all, somebody who wants to come in and act like they know everything. We've had this happen before. They come in and say, well, you're doing this wrong, or this doesn't work. Look, we're getting on-the-ground information from thousands of people of what's working and what's not. If there's something that's better, we have an open forum for it. We talk about it. But you know the kind of people I'm talking about, the ones that always act like they know best, even if they don't. And then finally, the job fairy, people who think they can click a button, not have to do any work on their own, and they automatically get a job. We work really hard in this association. We have a large team who is very active and who will welcome you as soon as you get into the group and support you every step of the way. But you have to do things yourself. You have to actually be the one to press the button to send your LinkedIn messages, for example. You have to actually take the time to work out your resume and to apply the strategies we're giving you. You have to actually be the one to show up to the interview. Just a reminder, again, we have associates from 34 different countries all around the world, not just the US, but 34 countries, and we've helped people get jobs in all of those countries. Some of you asked about the price of the association. Currently, it's $342. It is going up about 20% in 2018. And the reason we're doing this is because we've expanded quite a bit. We're hiring new team members to help. We've been growing really fast, and so we have to put some new infrastructure in. We're creating new materials, and we're developing a software app. So we are increasing the price. This is the last time you can get in and get all the materials and the new app that's coming out at this price. There is installment options too for $48. And I know as a PhD, it's like, wow, that's great. That's so much. But once you get a job, it's nothing. Once you get a job in industry, remember the average, and we pulled a project manager average salary here. The project manager average salary is very close to the average salary overall for all those positions. If you remember that slide I showed earlier for the average salary in industry for life sciences and physical sciences engineering, it's about $91,000. We even found one of the lowest paid research scientist salaries we could find in a small city. It's still $76,000. Either way, that works out to $210 a day. So if you do the math, within 2 days, you'll more than pay for the association easily. 2 days, that's it. All right, so we're about to wrap up. If you want to join the association, you can go to the association enrollment page. If you click that orange button, that offer, it says the big interview bonus. That's how you can get this opening day bonus. You'll get the big interview bonus and you'll become an associate. I'll also put it at the top of the chat box right now. So if you want to join the association, click that button and it will show you how to join. This LinkedIn bonus ends today. This big interview bonus ends when this webinar ends, and it's ending very, very soon. So it's your last chance to get this. You will not get another chance to get this bonus, to get both of these bonuses together. This is your last chance to do it. And I want to take you through real quick. We're going to bring Manny on in just a second, but I want to show you. Whoop. We'll bring Manny on in 1 second, but I want to show you real quickly what the actual program looks like on the inside. If you go on here, you can read about lots of other associates who've gone through successfully. You can find the data. Leah just joined. Welcome, Leah. You can see some of the other members who are joining now. You could read about anything you want to find. You can see just dozens and dozens and dozens of other success stories, real people talking about their experience, not edited or made, fake or nice. This is the raw data. People right now talking about their experiences in the association. So that's on that link that I just posted to the top of the chat box in green. My mouse is working again. So this is what the dashboard looks like. Remember, think of the association as two things. It's a complete PhD level, PhD only job search blueprint. This is the blueprint inside the dashboard. There's a quick start guide so you can get started right away very quickly. An introduction. There's a welcome video, steps, the team, top members that you can all contact. You have your own members directory profile, and you can access the directory right away. And again, we've made this very sleek and very easy to use. So let's say you're in the physical sciences, like you're a chemist. Click physical sciences, click search. Everyone in the association who's in the physical sciences will show up here. You can search for them by the job that they want. Okay, let's say I want to look for an R&D, somebody who's interested in R&D research and is in the physical sciences. I'll search this, and look you find hundreds and hundreds of people. And the cool thing is, you can see not just their name, their career interests, and where they're from, but also you can click and go directly to their LinkedIn profile and start networking with them on LinkedIn right away. It's a very powerful platform. We have a calendar of all of our events. You can see here, so we just had a meetup today actually in Houston. We have a meetup in Baltimore coming up, a meetup in Pittsburgh, a meetup in San Diego, and a meetup for interdisciplinary Cheekies. These are in-person events that you get access to. We have our welcome webinar next week. We have all of our webinars here. We have an industry scientist roundtable, a meetup in Dusseldorf, Germany. Just lots of different events. I know we had recently had a meetup in London, UK. All the events, all the meetups, all the webinars is all listed here for you. Those 4 core modules we talked about are here, right? So that first module, foundation, you can watch the video or you can just listen to, just like you'd listen to a podcast while you're in the lab or walking to work or at working out, whatever it is. So those core modules are here. Just had Enerban join. Welcome, Enerban. Under careers, you can see here that we have we have certain segments of careers broken down, like life science and tech, clinical medical affairs, right? Like medical science liaison positions, very hot. So we do lots of MSL roundtables. These roundtables are great because it's actually multiple people in that job on all at once. You can see them here by video. I mean, it's just the most robust platform you're ever going to find for getting a job. And it's supported. It's not just like, here it is, figure it out. Like, we have support systems in place so you can talk to real people whenever you need help. Whenever you need help. Amazing. We have just an amazing service team. Documents, we have workbooks, of course. We have our quick reference series, our STEM positions guide with the top 40 jobs in STEM as an example. We have our transition plan. This is our #1 rated transition plan. This will help you figure out what jobs are right for you. This will help you figure out the professional lifestyle that's right for you. We have our insider series. We have drive sheets. So some things change so quickly that we've embedded drive sheets here. For example, every recruiter that is brought up in our private group, we list here. We have a whole list of recruiters you can reach out to all over the world. We have LinkedIn groups to join, LinkedIn companies to follow, LinkedIn people to follow. Interview questions. Every time somebody goes on an interview in the association, they share the interview questions. And so we just have the most extensive list of current interview questions you will ever find. And we've broken them down for specific jobs: application scientist, biz analyst or development, consulting, data assurance, medcom, MSL, project management, research scientist. I mean, we have every resource you could pop. It's the most complete blueprint you will ever find. Resume templates are here. We have advanced webinars we do on specific topics like LinkedIn. Immigration, right? Some of you want to talk to our immigration lawyers. We can give you access to them. We have interviews with them frequently. Negotiation, you want to learn how to negotiate. You want to increase your business acumen, right? You want to talk about corporate strategy, excelling in industry, biotech trends. We just had Jamie Chin join. Welcome, Jamie. Whoops. And then, of course, there's the private group. Now, we use LinkedIn. We use Facebook for the group because it allows for a lot of features that are very, very helpful. And you can see here if we go to the CSA group that we have over 2,600 people in the group now. So 2,618 members just active in this private group. We have over 4,000 members total. And you can see it's a very active group. I mean, we have some posts here with 3.7 thousand comments. There are it's just a very, very active group. And look at an example here. So this is somebody posted 3 hours ago. They already have 7, 8, 9 comments on it. We have people meeting up in different cities all the time. We have people offering internships and jobs here. We have a separate notifications group for jobs. It's just a robust group. You can see here that there are posts to help you with your LinkedIn profile. There's certain homework posts to make sure you're getting the most out of the program. And you get answers right away, right? So like if somebody, here's an ask from 1 hour ago, and there's already a couple of comments. I mean, you're not waiting weeks for answers. You're not even waiting days. You're getting answers in hours. I do videos in there. There's questions that come up, and so I answer those. And it's a very active group. Again, here's a comment 7 hours ago asking for help on the modules. Already 6 comments. So again, it's the fastest you're going to get help. Who did we just have? Karen just joined. Karen Swanson, welcome. Fasal Tarika just joined. Welcome. Silmara Rodriguez just joined. Welcome, Silmara. So that's the program. Again, go to the link that's pinned to the top of the chat box. That's the only way to get the We're going to bring on Manny now. I just always think it's good to talk to somebody who's in the program. We're about to stop the webinar. We'll talk to Manny for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to close the webinar. So this is your last chance to click the link at the top of the chat box. Hello, everyone, again. We're going to see if we can bring on Manny, and maybe we can... Hi, Manny.
Can you see me?
I can see you. You're a little bit low speaking. Let me see if I can...
Okay, how about now?
I think that's better. If you speak up a little bit, maybe it might be okay.
Thanks right. So I'll just
there
keep
we
the
go.
mic. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I know. See, this is why I have to wear this nerdy headset.
Right.
So, Manny, welcome, everyone. Please welcome Manny. He stayed up late to talk about the association. Thank you, Manny. I really appreciate it.
Pleasure to be here. Hello, everyone. I hope you can see me and hear me fine. Pleasure to be here.
Great. And so, Manny, just real quick, I just wanted to say, and I just want to say thanks for being here again. And I wanted to ask you, before you joined the association, what were your concerns about joining? And then how were those concerns alleviated after joining?
Right. So, of course, I had concerns before I joined the association. I was not sure what I was getting into, and I kept on seeing these emails and the posts everywhere, just like all of you guys. And then finally, I decided, okay, let's take a webinar just like this. And then, of course, I had concerns because I was not sure. But then I thought, okay, in order to go ahead in your strategies, you always have to take a leap of faith and make some investment. So I decided, okay, let's go in and then see for myself exactly what this is. So I decided to join the association, and I bet that I did not regret that decision. As you just saw, tons of features. Isaiah just talked about the private group and the website that has different modules, very, very well organized material for all of us. So I think that overall, I'm glad that I made that decision, and I get a ton of value, and it's still going on. So I'm excited.
Yeah, thanks. And so I think that's important to note. Like we understand, like we're PhDs, like we have a critical eye, and it's normal to look at something and say like, and make sure that, okay, I got to make sure this isn't a scam, make sure it's real people, make sure it's right for me. That's all normal. Manny went through it. We all go through it. But at some point you have to say, okay, I need to invest in myself, get access to something that's going to help me, because there are real things out there that'll help you. And then once you did that, Manny, you joined the association. Let's talk about the materials first, like the dashboard, the program. How did the materials help you? How did you feel about them in terms of their completeness or how applicable they were to you?
So I found everything, all the materials immensely helpful, especially the early start on material. First of all, I'm letting everyone know here is that there's tons of material. It's not just like one webinar, or the moment you join, you get like hit in your face by this, like, I don't know, like a lot of material, which actually overwhelmed me to begin with. So I was not sure what to do. And then I kept on posting my questions in the private group, and then finally got an idea, okay, how to navigate through it all. So when I joined in the beginning, what I really liked was the LinkedIn makeover and preparation on that, and then resume and so on. So it's very well laid out. It's step by step, and no matter where you start, when you start, there's always help available. And the organization is very well done. And it's very easy to access the material, whether it's in the reading format, Word documents, PDF, webinars, past webinars. So if you miss anything, it's all there. So you're never short of information, right?
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because it's, I like to say, okay, many of you've been in a desert for a long time, if you're listening, which means you've been in a desert because you have no connections in terms of your job search, and you have no access to actual material that'll help you in your job search. And then all of a sudden you get access to all of the best stuff that's available and all of the best people that are available. I mean, in my opinion, but like you get access to a big network. And so it can seem a little bit overwhelming at first, but we have everything organized for you, and we have a great support system. And I think that's my last question for you, Manny, is how did you feel? Let me first welcome Kirk Douglas. Kirk Douglas, is that your real name? Welcome to the group. So let me ask you, did you feel supported after you joined, and how did the private group help support you, and how responsive were people to your questions in the group?
Right. So absolutely, I felt supported right off the bat. As I mentioned, and as you just saw, that there is a Facebook group with over, I think, like 2,500 members active all the time from all over the world with similar concerns, similar issues, and and everyone at the same position where you're at. Also, one thing I really like in that group is that people who were looking for a job earlier, who have a job now, everybody can see and comment on those. So whenever I had any question regarding my resume, or regarding, okay, I have an upcoming interview, or I'm approaching this situation, what to do, within minutes, in fact, not even hours, you're guaranteed to get a response from someone, and then it becomes kind of an interactive conversation, virtual conversation. You post your question, you can post your query, and somebody will keep commenting on it. So it is something that I personally found really helpful, and I did not have access to any of such resource in my lab, my colleagues, and they were kind of clueless about it. So I think that it really helps to be in a community that is ready to provide value to you, no matter where you are at, whether or not they know you or have met you. It's fine. You just post your question and get your answers right away.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Manny, for your insights. Again, it's always good to have real people on. Manny's real. He's not a robot.
I'm real.
Thank you, Manny.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for staying up. Have a good night, my friend.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Okay, so thanks to Manny. Please do me a favor and thank Manny. He's probably still watching. I wanted to make sure we got through everything. A couple of you had questions. I will answer those now. So number one, you are a lifetime member. There's no fee after the one-time payment. If you do the installments, there's 12 installments, but then after that, there's no payment. You're in for life. Like, that's our guarantee to you to get you a job. You join, you're getting a job. You're not going to pay anything else to get that job. Silmara, you will receive the big interview bonus. Do not worry. If sometimes things go to spam, number one. Obviously, if you're in a rush to get the bonuses actually don't get sent. One of them, the big interview, until this webinar ends. And of course, if it goes to your spam box or because of your settings to your trash box, just email our help desk at cheekyscientist.service@gmail.com. Obviously, you're going to get access to the private group. I'm about to go in the private group right now and welcome a lot of you who have joined. You will get access to the big interview bonus, and you will get access to the LinkedIn. So the LinkedIn one gets sent right away because that's the opening day bonus. The webinar only bonus gets sent after the webinar is over. That's what triggers it. If you join during the webinar, once the webinar is over, you'll get sent it. So don't worry, everyone. You're gonna get your bonuses. You're gonna get everything. We're here to support you. If you need to reach out to somebody at all, obviously you can reach out to Isaiah at cheekyscientist.com, or we have our help desk here, which I'll put into the chat box for you, for those of you who just joined. And cheekyscientist.com is a bit easier. So we will make sure that you all get bonuses. It's great to see all of you on. For those of you who joined, we are wrapping up now. So this is your last chance to get the bonuses. And we will see all of you who joined in the private group. We had a couple of other questions. Yes, we do have I love this question, right? Do you have a large geoscience community in the association? We do have people, Nitesh, in geoscience, and it is robust. We have 4,000 people overall. I think we have a dozen or so, depending on which specific sector of geoscience. But remember, you don't need to find people with your exact academic background to get hired in industry. Your academic background matters very, very little. Hello from Yunzi Liu. Welcome. What holds PhDs back from getting a job is focusing just on their background. In industry, nobody rarely uses a geoscience. Like a geoscience researcher is not even a job title in some cases. Your background is somewhat irrelevant, believe it or not. Your PhD, the fact that you have a doctor of philosophy, which is the ability to learn, right? It's essentially makes you a doctor of learning. That's what's valuable. So don't get hung up on your background. Really, the people that are going to give you the best referrals are going to have different backgrounds from you anyway, and they're going to connect you to other shared connections who are working at those companies, just like we just went through, right? If I wanted a geoscience job, using the example we went through before, I would reach out to David Snook, who's an analytical chemist, to ask him about that position. So don't get focused. That's the academic mindset, the academic perspective. Like, what's my narrow little niche in academia? It doesn't work like that in industry, so I wouldn't worry about that. But if you are concerned, we do have a community of geoscientists. So hopefully this helps you, and good to see you all on. Thanks for the help from the team. Thank you, Manny. Thank you, Laura. Thank you, Asia. Thank you, Joanna. Good to see all of you on. Last chance, if you're typing in furiously, I'm going to end the webinar slowly to let you finish your membership so that you get the big interview bonus, because once the webinar shuts down, it will send everyone their bonuses. And again, if you have an issue, if something goes to spam or trash, just email me at isaiah@cheekyscientist.com or our help desk at cheekyscientist.service@gmail.com. Thanks, everyone.